So are you watching The Last of Us? I know. Pretty much everyone is. I wasn't sure what to expect the cast to be like when they're not fighting for their lives during the apocalypse, or how they feel about their once-in-a-lifetime roles. Pedro Pascal was apparently a no-brainer for Neil Druckmann. They wrote and directed The Last of Us video games and co-created the HBO adaptation. Neil said that they had their eyes on Pedro because we knew we would make a mistake if we cast a purely tough guy as Joel. Pedro can play tough for sure, but he's got way more dimension, depth, and heart than your classic action hero. Apparently, the feelings that Pedro was made for the role were mutual. Dude was cast as Joel the same day he read the script. And if it wasn't already clear that he was the perfect choice for Joel, his record-breaking Rotten Tomatoes streak has only gotten better. Literally, every main character that Pedro's played on a TV series has been above 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. And The Last of Us is at a whopping 99%. I felt like I could see a real bond between him and fellow Game of Thrones alum Bella Ramsey. You know, the one who plays Ellie. And I gotta say, Bella Ramsey is the perfect Ellie to Pedro's Joel. And credit to Neil Druckmann, because he did what he could to make sure of that. He watched over 100 actors' auditions for Ellie before it was Bella's turn. And he'd said, "It didn't feel like I was watching someone acting like Ellie. I was watching Ellie." And honestly, I couldn't agree more. And Bella doesn't just fit Ellie to a T, Ellie has changed to fit Bella too. Bella's had some awesome suggestions for details about her character. Ellie sleeping with a switchblade the first night she spends with Joel and Tess was all Bella. And Tess was def a fan of working with these co-stars too. Anna Torv did have her work cut out for her as Tess. Like, she absolutely nailed taking on that complex character, didn't you find? The actor actually said they were encouraged to give their own interpretations of the characters, instead of just going with what the characters were like in the game.
It's a new interpretation.
Anna definitely didn't mind this. She was actually kind of relieved, and she wasn't restricted and got to create her own version of the character. Oh, and someone else who dove right into building their character, the one and only Gabriel Luna. So you might remember Gabriel from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And well, he's playing Tommy now. It seems like he's feeling pretty great about it. Why? Well, he just happened to be a big fan of the games and the character Tommy. How about that for a coincidence? And as someone who knew the games, Gabriel got really into it. And it was pretty cool for him because he got to have fun with new insights about what happened before the story told in the game. Now that's a game lover's dream, I think, yeah? Oh gosh, and Nick Offerman, it was actually his wife, Megan Mullally, we gotta thank for getting him in the show. Parks and Rec def knew who he is, but what's crazy here is that he didn't actually have time between other projects to take on a role when he got the script for the third ep of The Last of Us. But luckily, his wife, Megan, had read it and knew it was too good to miss. And thank goodness, because she was right. By the way, learning that he'd be performing in the heartbreaking episode across from the White Lotus star Murray Bartlett seriously only sweetened the deal. Duh. Nick had actually said that he got the news just after finishing The White Lotus Season 1. If I don't see 2022 Emmy winner Murray Bartlett back on the award stage this year for his role as Frank, I am rioting. Who's in? Frank was a character in The Last of Us games, but it wasn't nearly as big of a part. The series took a totally different path with Bill and Frank's story, and no one could have fleshed out the character better than Murray. I'm totally not surprised that Murray's partner also had a strong reaction to the episode. Didn't we all? Connecting with this character was so special for him, which is probably the right word to use when it comes to Merle Dandridge too. She has a pretty interesting relationship with her character, Marlene. She's actually the only character who reprised her role from the game in the series. So how did this work? Well, according to executive producer Craig Mazin, Merle was a bit younger than her character when she first did it, while the other actors were closer to their character ages. So after those few years, most of them aged out, but Merle, she's the perfect age to embody her now. Merle said that getting to truly embody the character she originated was both surreal and nerve-wracking. Would you be feeling the pressure if it was you? Oh, and pressure. Did Nico Parker feel none? She really kicked the series off with her portrayal of Sarah, while she definitely knocked the heart-wrenching role out of the park for, well, obvious reasons. Nico was nervous about bringing a character that was already so loved by fans to life in a new way. But with her performance, I mean, I was a fan. And oh my gosh, let me fangirl for just a sec. Melanie Lynskey plays Kathleen. What a queen. Okay, so if you're a fan of the games and you're wondering who exactly Kathleen is, that's because she's actually a new character introduced just for the series. From her roles in Castle Rock to the hit series Yellow Jackets, it's really no wonder why anyone would want to cast her. But for the co-creator, Craig, the Emmy nominee is also a friend. And according to Melanie, she and Craig co-hosted Zoom Mafia games during the COVID lockdown. And Melanie knew she was in good hands with the creator of HBO's award-winning series Chernobyl too, which that's fair. Okay, but she wasn't the only one that played a totally new character though. Jeffrey Pierce plays Perry, another character made for the series. But Jeffrey himself wasn't new to the world of The Last of Us. Yeah, Jeffrey was actually the voice of Tommy in the video game and did the motion capture for the character. So if you recognize his voice from somewhere other than the Last of Us game, it's probably actually from Call of Duty. Okay, but are you loving The Last of Us? Which character is your favorite so far? Let's talk about it in the comments.